Dang it. I forget. Welcome. Hello. It is Monday. It is time for the software contest software shootout number 2. Peace, man. Number 2, we are going to do the software it's Monday. I'm struggling. Contest software shootout. Episode number 2. We did it. Episode number 1, 2 weeks ago. It ended on Friday. And I have still to pick the winners for that, which is something I'm going to be recording. I should say winner, because there was only one winner. But we're going to do it again. It was such a success that I'm going to do it again. And we're going to pump a little bit more stuff into it this time. Now, what is the contest software shootout? What I'm doing is I am taking 5, maybe 6, maybe 5. I haven't quite decided yet on episode number 2 exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to decide that this afternoon. But I'm taking these 5/6 software tools like UpViral, Gleam, Viper, possibly I'm going to drop Viral Loops or Perkzilla, and I'm going to add one possibly called Player, and I'm going to test them by running the same contest through all 5 tools simultaneously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all of the traffic through one source. I'm going to split that 5 different ways, and we're going to see what the results are in 2 weeks. Now, the first version came up with some very interesting results, some surprising results, some things that surprised the kajibers out of me, but I also discovered some mistakes that I made, so the results were exactly quite even. And if you're curious, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my spreadsheet, because I forgot to do that before we started. Sorry. And I'm going to show you what happened in the first one. So let's go dive into that, because I think that's a great place to start to have a look at what is going on. So let me go here and switch. And I want to make sure that this switch works. I haven't done this in a couple of days. So yes, there it is. All right. I also want to check to see if it is working. It is freaking working. So by the way, and I can hear myself. So let me turn that off. I created a new website called cmitch. And that's cmitch.com. And if you go to cmitch.com, what you're going to see is, let me bring this over here. And so you can see that if you want to keep track of me and what I'm working on and what I'm doing, if you ever want to know what my schedule is, poke over to cmitch.com and you will see Mitch. And if there's a replay of the most replay of the most recent thing, you'll see it right there. So you see I'm playing. It's playing right now up here in this window. And things are happening there. So that's me talking to you. So there's a little mirror effect all the way down the road there. Kind of fun. All right, let me get that out of the way. So, in terms of, and welcome, by the way, please give me a shout out and a comment if you would not mind. I always love seeing shout outs and comments. I am going to do one more thing, and we are going to quickly do a little peeky poo in to see how well Restream is sending this out. It looks like it's doing a good job. There is somebody here from Twitch. Great to see you here from Twitch. So I wanted to make sure that was working. All right, let's dive into the spreadsheet. Now, many of you know that one of my favorite tools is UpViral. And so UpViral's in the first column. Gleam is in the second column. Viper is here in the third column. Viral Loops was in the fourth column, and Perkzilla. Now, there is no rhyme or reason to this order other than the way I started building them. Of course, Viral's first. And I want to turn on my cursor. For some reason, my little halo, there it is. So, what you should see, theoretically, is similar visits across the top. Now, what you see is that UpViral recorded 341 and Gleam recorded 1,007 visits, and Viper had 491, and then you see NA and NA. Well, I can't find anywhere inside Viral Loops or Perkzilla where it shows me how many visits came through. So that's one of the things that was a quick lesson that kind of bothered me, because that means I can't really do a good job of seeing what my conversion rate is going to be. You see 0, and theoretically that should be 0. Now, there's also, by the way, Viral, and I'm laughing because Mitch made a boo-boo. Viral is showing 341 visits. Now, why is this Viper 491 and Gleam 1,000? Well, that's because Mitch messed up. And Mitch actually ended the campaign 6 days early and wasn't paying attention. And then once I discovered that I turned it off 3 days early, or 6 days early, I discovered there was a bug in Viral, and for some reason it was showing live, even though it wasn't live, it was inactive. So I left it that way so the software developers could see what was going on and potentially fix the bug. Now, excuse me, our friends over at Gleam, by the way, seem to have done a really banger job, right? Because theoretically, all of the traffic visits should be virtually the same-ish, depending upon whether or not there's a whole lot of sharing that goes on. And you'll see right here that UpViral had 157% sharing. So there were 66 actions taken for 42 leads. That makes 157%. And over on Gleam, we had 298 leads. We had 300% in shares per lead. And so there was a lot more activity going on in Gleam, which was a big eye-opener for me, which is one of the things I want to see in round 2 if that sort of thing happens again. Now, if that's true, then that could be a big revelation for why Gleam's one of the top tools on the market for running contests, because it seems to freaking work. Viper did a fairly decent job, although people weren't sharing, right? We only had 90% out of the shares per lead. So the 45 leads, or the 50 leads that came in, didn't share as much. And you see there was only one referral. Surprisingly, down here, and I know my face is in the way, this is the referred section. Down here at the bottom, let me put this over here. The referred section, put my cursor in the right place, sorry. I'm looking at two views of, I'm looking at the what's actually streaming versus actually down here. So, in terms of visits and leads, the referred, even on UpViral, did not do very much. And one of the reasons for that, I think, is that I did not offer enough incentive for people to share. And so we're going to take some lessons learned from all of that. You see there was the one referral from Viper. Actually, interestingly enough, Viral Loops got 15 referrals. And so Perkzilla showed 0. So we've got a real range going on here. And part of my suspicion also is that there is a potential that there is a whole bunch of cheating going on over here on Gleam. Now, I have yet to dive into all of the details on that, but I suspect that there are some struggles going on there with fraud. Now, none of the tools will catch that fraud. It has to do It's people being subtle by referring themselves with other email addresses. So we'll see. I got to dive into more on that. So anyway, what is going to happen is that today I'm going to rebuild those campaigns. I'm going to clone those campaigns, and we're going to run round 2. We're going to, starting probably tomorrow, I'm going to drive traffic into all of those campaigns. I'm going to drive it into the splitter. I'm using Pretty Link Pro to split that traffic. So theoretically, the same amount of traffic should go to all 5 tools, all 5 campaigns in each different tool. And then we will be able to look more in detail. And what I intend to do, for those of you who maybe didn't catch on last time, and give me a shout in the comments if you're here. One of the things that I didn't do last time that I'm going to do this time is that I'm using a website called Sweepstakes Advantage. Now, Sweepstakes Advantage has a whole bunch of people that love to do contests. And then what I'm going to do is let that run for the first 10 days. I'm sorry, the first week. It cost me $10 to do the first ad. And then what I'm going to do, starting next weekend, is I'm going to pay them the $102 to promote the campaign higher. Now, what you don't know, if you were paying attention, if you heard me talk about the very first one, all of this traffic, and let me go back to the sharing, all of this traffic was from $10. I put that $10 ad into Sweepstakes Advantage, and in the end result, oops, don't zoom in there. In the result, I got I'm sorry, I'll put it in the right place. 479 leads for $10. Lots of questions there about whether somebody would actually buy something from me, etc., 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 etc. Down the road, we'll have to look at that data. And there's certainly a ton of learning that I did in learning about Gleam and Viper and Viral Loops and Perkzilla. There are great things about each one of those tools. There are some bad things about each one of those tools that I'm going to try to implement in this new release. But 479 leads off of $10, I think a lot of people ought to be jumping up and down. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove more data in here. So we'll be able to do more fun stuff. What do you think about that? I think it's pretty freaking cool. I'm also that's going to give me more data on UpViral side, because UpViral has the ability to do split testing. None of the other tools at the price point that I am paying for have split testing on the landing page. So one of the split tests over on UpViral is that I am split testing 3 different options on the login. One is the Facebook only login. The other is a form only login or entry. And then the last one is the little pop-up where the user has to click to see the form, which pops up in a secondary window. I saw a very big difference between those in the first campaign, so I'm going to see hopefully a lot more traffic in the next one. And so we'll be able to get more valuable data from that split test. Theoretically, based on what I saw, by the way, nobody likes that Facebook opt-in, at least in the UpViral campaign, and so it's going to be really curious to see. I think I was getting a 3 or 4% conversion rate on the Facebook opt-in, and the rest of it was like you see up here, 12% conversion rate overall. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sorry, 12%. I keep looking at this little tiny view of what's being broadcast, and I put my cursor over that, and instead of putting it down here where you guys can see it, so it doesn't quite look right. Sorry, I'll try to do better on that one. So that's the project that I have going on, starting again probably tomorrow. What do you think? Do you think that's fascinating? Why am I doing this? Well, number one, I want to learn all the different tools. Let me turn that screen share off. We don't need to see that. Oops. Number one, I'm learning all the different tools. I've known for a long time that with Thank You Page Magic, and I should have my little logo down there. With Thank You Page Magic, I'm going to be teaching people how they can... That's so small. There it is. I'm going to be teaching people how to add gamification to your thank you page. And in some cases, some people might want to use a different tool than my favorite tool, UpViral. And so what I need to do is to be able to figure out which tools will apply in which situations when people come to me and they say, hey, Mitch, I need to do this. And maybe there's a better tool for doing Thank You Page Magic kind of stuff. And so that's why I'm doing this. There's costs involved in all the tools. There's lessons to be learned. There's a whole lot of things going on here. And in order to be able to recommend the best tool on the planet for doing Thank You Page Magic, I gotta understand how they all work. I also have to understand what traffic happens. Like I saw this big difference in the first edition, but even in the first week before I screwed up and turned Viral off, there was a large variation in the conversion rates between UpViral and Gleam. and Gleam. And what I want to do this particular episode is change the landing page a little bit inside of UpViral to make it look a little bit more like the Gleam one, so I can see whether it's a look and feel thing. I'm not quite sure what the differences are there, and why there was such a large audience inside of Gleam, and why almost 1-to-1 ratio of referrals came through Gleam. So I got a lot of things to learn here. So that's one of the that's the main reason why I'm doing this. I also want to be able to spread that information to folks to be able to help them, you, pick a better tool or the best tool for what you need to do going down the road for all of your marketing. Now, if you don't know about Thank You Page Magic, I think it's going to change the game for marketers, for entrepreneurs, for folks who are running their own business. Everybody will tell you, all the gurus will tell you that you need to be doing marketing like 70 to 80% of the time, right? You need to be going out and finding leads for your business. That should be, depending upon which guru you talk to, one of the most important things that you are doing with most of your time. If you're not bringing in new traffic and you're not bringing in new leads, then you're not growing your business and you're not serving the people that you want to serve. Thank You Page Magic takes your existing marketing and lights a fire under it and lights a skyrocket such that your marketing is now going to be bringing in additional people. What happens on the thank you page is something that nobody's ever really talked about in any kind of detail. So does anybody out there have any questions? Anybody out there? Knock, 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 knock. Hello? I should play some fun sounds.
You have failed me for the last time.
Anybody out there? Are you paying attention? Are you spying on me? And seeing what I'm doing without in lurking mode? All right, so that's the plan. That's what's starting today. I am going to be doing more during this week and next week. Evans, hello, thank you. Thank you for commenting. Yay, a comment. That's one hell of a difference in conversion. Yes, I was very surprised by that. I was very surprised by the conversion rate differences. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, right? And this is one of the reasons why I think the more I'm doing this, the more I'm thinking about this, I am learning so much about these different tools and how they work or don't work. And if you can imagine, all this time I've spent, let's say, teaching, learning, using UpViral, and there's another tool that gets a higher conversion rate for just about everything. Holy cow, what am I doing, right? Maybe that's the reason that Gleam is the #1 tool on the market. What are they doing that's different than what UpViral's doing, or Viper, or Perkzilla, or whatever? Given says, can we see the landing pages for UpViral and Gleam? Sure. I will show you. Let's see. Wasn't really prepared for that, but maybe I should be prepared for that. I have Gleam open. Might have to log in again. Let's see if I just do preview. This is what Gleam looked like for a landing page. All right. And I'm going to switch over to my UpViral account. I may need to log in here because I haven't done that this morning. And I should be able to... I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see. It should. There you go. So they're very similar. They're not stacked on each other like the Gleam one is. However, if I do this, you'll see Facebook in the background there. But if I do this, you'll see that they... Oh. I'm sorry. Thank you, Evans. I'm not screen sharing. See, this is why I need to have that dang thing on the top of the page. So this is what you're seeing here is the UpViral one. And let me switch over to Gleam. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that be over here in the right-hand side. So this is left and right. Now, as you grow UpViral, this is what you would see on the... Make sure I'm seeing the screen. I have a third monitor so I can keep an eye on what's going on. But as in a smartphone kind of view, the left-hand section gets on top of the right-hand section. I can move those around, and maybe that would be a better option to make it look more like Gleam. Down at the bottom, of course, inside of Gleam over here, what you would typically see is some of the actions that you would be able to do when the campaign is running. I have not yet cloned this, but the top part is basically the same as the UpViral campaign. It's just the wording is in a different place. See, I have the same wording. We're celebrating the launch of Thank You Page Magic. Enter for a chance to win. I have the same wording over here. Okay, do you have any questions about that? And obviously, if I spread this out a little bit, the desktop version looks like this. The image is over on the right, and the text is on the left. And this is what I was talking about with the... the split test is either the Facebook login or a form showing up here. And so I'm doing that as a split test. Because I want to see how many people will use the Facebook only login. Okay. Now the other tools look somewhat similar, although I know the Viper one looks a bit different. So there are some differences, and now I still get the comment still in the way. So let me know if you have any other questions. Last time I did this, I spent a couple of hours demoing building inside of each tool. I'm not going to do that this time, not planning to, because I plan to just clone the campaigns and drive traffic to them with some nuance changes. I'm going to change, I might change the look and feel of the op-viral campaign so that it's top and bottom like Viper is. I'm sorry, not Viper, but Gleam. How did the other ones collect leads? Well, it depends. Sorry, I turned it on and off. Each tool does it differently, which is part of the lesson. I mean, I cannot make them exactly the same because they work differently. I mean, if you go to, let me just make this full page, and let me go to make this a little bit easier. Competitions. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to go to, come on. Page is unresponsive. That's what I thought. Like clicking and doing stuff, but it's not working. There we go. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you. If I can do this, and I'm going to take. God, I don't want to delete that. Clicks are a bit behind. Man. Cancel. Finished campaigns. Man, this is running slowly. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to take this one. And I have clicked on it, but I'm waiting for Gleam to load. And I'm going to do copy. Because I want to answer your question, Evans. So I'm just going to give it a different name for just now. And you do have to go through this process. I'm going to change the date because it's going to end November 12th. And I'll just leave that time there. Actually, can I change the time because I want it to be 6 o'clock or 1800? Or I'll do 17. So it will be starting, and I'm just going to do save. Thankfully. All right, so if I do this, you'll see what the entry form looks like. So here's the difference, Evans, between OpViral, which has, in this case, the Facebook opt-in. There's a single button there for the opt-in. In Gleam's case, you can set it up to use an email login or a Facebook login or a Gmail, Google login, or Twitter. So this is what it actually looks like when the user is choosing to opt in. And if they pick Facebook, then it would take them to Facebook to connect. I could turn all of these off but I can't split test it, is the problem. I cannot do the kind of split test that I'm doing inside of UpViral. Are they identical? Are these campaigns exactly identical? No. I recognize that. But I am sending the same amount of traffic to each one. The idea here is to learn the differences between them and how well these differences work or don't work. It is not an exact split test between the 5 different tools. Why does it say 32 days left? Did I really mess up on the date? I did. I didn't want November. I'm not ending this in November. I'll change the date. Okay, does that answer your question, Evans? Are they 100% equal? No. If I go, I don't know how quickly I can show you Viper because I think the campaign's closed. I don't know, let me see if I can get this. What does it do if it's closed? It's already closed. Things are running really slowly on my machine. See, it's not running. All right. So if you're interested in what's going on, if you want to follow along, if you're on my newsletter, sign up for my newsletter. If you're not on my newsletter, please sign up and you'll be updated with when things are going. Excuse me, that came out of nowhere. People like choices, looks more trustworthy, and plus everyone, yes, and plus not everyone they share the contest with will have Facebook to log in with. Yes, that's exactly part of the decision making that I'm working on to decide whether or not a single Facebook opt-in is the best choice. I'm not saying that each tool, the way I'm setting up, is perfectly even. Not saying that at all. But I'm learning what's working and what's not working by being able to do a split test, for example. Man, that's a white screen. Oh, it finally came up. Viper looks very different than UpViral or Gleam. And this was about the closest I could get it. See if I'm sharing properly. Let me turn off the comment. This was about as close as I can get it. Because Viper does not give you a whole lot of choice in the layout. This is one of the struggles. And when I finish this testing, I'm going to do a major comparison and show the differences between each tool. And Viper gives you the ability to put in a lot of different colors, but this top section, for example, can only have a background image and a cover overlay. I tried to put the same image there, so I made it kind of transparent so that it would kind of sort of look and feel like the Viper one. But it doesn't look, I cannot put, for example, the little opt-in card, or I can't put the image to the side or below this and have it look good. And so that's one of the struggles, that's one of the lessons learned, that's one of the things that will help me decide whether or not these tools can be used for other purposes. Now, I'm also trying to do this with landing pages that the tool provides. Several of the tools provide a widget that you could install on another page, which would make this look very different. And that's going to be test number 3 or 4 or 5 down the road of this same campaign. I'm going to do all kinds of testing. I can't do it all in one campaign, but I'm going to keep doing this and keep learning so I can figure out these things I was talking about before. Evans says, hopefully Upfire will adjust to Gleam's user interface. No, they're not. They're not going to adjust to match what Gleam is doing. They've got their way of doing it, and they're going to stick to it. I can put the opt-in form and the Facebook button on the page at the same time in Upfire, but they're never going to create as far as I know, they're not going to add a way to do a Google opt-in or Twitter or whatever the other ones were. As far as I know, they're not going to do that. They're not going to change the look and feel to be the widget the way Gleam does it. I have no intention of doing that. Now, their widget is, you could possibly create their widget to look exactly the same. Upfire does have widgets. I'm not in the mode of testing the widgets yet, as I said. That's going to be another down the road option. At this point, I am testing just their landing pages. Okay? I'm just doing what I can to get started. Now, nobody I know, by the way, is doing any kind of testing like this. I've never seen anybody do any kind of comparison like this before. This is very different. I have seen a spreadsheet or a comparison chart for all the many of the different tools with just and I'm building one of those too, with a feature yes, no kind of comparison chart. But as far as I know, nobody has ever. Somebody's probably done it. They've maybe done it for their own personal use or for a corporation or maybe for an agency that's done something similar. But I don't know of anybody that has built all of these different campaigns simultaneously and shoved the same amount of traffic in the front end to see how they work. Even if you showed them that these tweaks is the reason why they're behind, conversion-wise, by a lot, I don't know. Getting Upfire to do major changes is very difficult sometimes. I love them. I talk to them. We talk fairly often. I'm on the co-pilot show, right? I am very in tune with Upfire. Maybe they will listen. But I'm not necessarily saying that Gleam's user interface is the right way to go. Again, I'm going to build a widget, an Upfire widget that looks very similar, hopefully. We'll see how well it works. But that's not where I am right now. As far as I know, Gleam or Upfire doesn't have the desire to mimic Gleam and the multiple logins. Now, one thing I'll tell you that's very interesting that I learned during the first test. Gleam saves the data. When somebody opts in, Gleam saves the opt-in. But it doesn't, by default, send that over to your autoresponder. What you have to do, and I'm going to make this change to test it in this particular campaign coming up, is that you actually have to put the opt-in with the subscribe to my newsletter function. They call it subscribe to newsletter. I think the wording is close. But if you don't turn that on, the leads are not sent over to your autoresponder the instant they register. You have to export them and batch upload them to your autoresponder. The only way to do that automatic upload to your autoresponder, which all the other tools do, is to add this one function at the top that says once they've given you once they've logged in, they still have to click the button to opt into your newsletter. And if you don't do that, the leads are not sent over to your autoresponder. That's a big deal to me. And I don't know why they set it up that way, but that's what I saw in this first campaign. So I've had to take those leads from Gleam and upload them to my autoresponder to have them over there where I can swap emails with them, because I did not turn on that option to subscribe to newsletter. So it's a major difference in the way the tools work. I wouldn't have known that unless I built these campaigns and was testing them live. So, freaking awesome. Evan says, that's annoying. Yes, it's very annoying. It's kind of a game changer for me. And the opt-ins may be much lower the next time because I forced people to sign up to the newsletter in order to make that happen. We'll see. Gleam is expensive. Do you have a lifetime deal for it? No, I do not. I'm paying for it out of my own pocket. And I only bought, by the way, I think they call it the Pro version. I did not pay the more expensive monthly stuff. And that's part of the lessons I'm learning, is what those tools cost. Part of the overall comparison will be, what's the difference between the price of UpViral and the price of Gleam and the price of Viper and the price of Perkzilla, and what do you get for that? I'll tell you, as an example, I'm paying the middle Pro pricing. I don't know, let me look it up. Where's my Gleam? Maybe I shouldn't go to Gleam. Let's go. Oops. Gleam pricing. Now, what's interesting is you see different pricing. I'm going to make sure I'm screen sharing. You get to see different pricing depending upon what you pay for. Let me rephrase that. Gleam has 4 different applications. They have competitions, rewards, galleries, and captures. Now, UpViral does not, and Viper and Perkzilla and Viral Loops do not break these apart into separate applications. But Gleam does. I am currently only paying for competitions. And therefore, I cannot do a rewards program at the same time as a competition because I'm not paying for it. I can add it, I can up my pricing, but this is one of the things that I'm learning during this process, is that you are stuck with what they've got, right? This is one of the reasons why I freaking like UpViral, is because I don't have to pay separately to get different functionality. And I'm not confused by what those functions do or don't do. At least, okay, I've been there for a long time. But their pricing is kind of bizarre. And it's kind of annoying. At least to me. I don't think Gleam ever did a lifetime deal. If they did, I would like to know about it, but I think it's too late at this point. I don't think I've ever seen a lifetime deal for Gleam. I do have a lifetime deal for all the others. Perkzilla I do, Viral Loops I do, UpViral I do. Viper, I do. Did I say that? Evans says, are you about to see what they use to sign in? This is the problem with all of the tools. They don't give you data. I'm going to go look at that. Let me see if I can quickly get there. And I know you meant about are able. So if I go to finished campaigns, and Gleam's just not going to be fast about it. They are very focused on this entries idea. They are very focused on entries. How many points? This campaign had 27,920 points in unviral words. There were 919 actions. They don't tell you right here on this page how many people opted in. How many email addresses did you collect? It's kind of bizarre. You have to go over to the reporting, and you get to see the pretty chart of the traffic and stuff, but you have to get to here to know that 298 users opted in. It's kind of bizarre. And you get to come in here, if I come to the entries, for example, you can see every share here as an entry. How many points did they get? You can change to decide whether that particular click was valid or not. I have not specifically looked. These are all the actions. Visit, change your business, retweet. These are all the actions. Not the opt-in is not so shown here. So if I go over to reporting, viral shares, top users. I'm still not sure. And let's go to Mary Foltz. I don't get to see what login she used in the data. I don't get to see it in UpViral. I don't get to see it in Gleam. Unless I have missed something, I don't get to see what tool they use to log in. That would be incredibly valuable data. But as far as I know, they don't give that to me. And what I'm going to do, just for one more check, since you asked, I don't want to be there. I want to come back here. I can export this data somewhere. See, part of the deal, by the way, when I was talking about I'm concerned about fraud, Mary Foltz had 49 people. Let me go back to this page. Mary Foltz referred 47 people trying to win a $50 Amazon gift card. George Shapiro referred 20 people. Bijan referred 20 people. So you see these top 3 users referred 87 of the total 123 referrals in this campaign. I have to still define whether or not those people are valid referrals. I still have lots of learning to do here. And I can't remember right off the bat I did pick somebody as a winner the other day. I haven't talked to anybody. Somewhere on here is the ability to export. And I need to export, but I still don't believe that on that export I get to see. Here's the export for the actions. Please don't steal these email addresses. Entries. Action. Location. When. Twitter. YouTube. I don't know what these two columns are. See, these are just the actions is the problem. This is not the login data. This is not what I really want to see. Oops. So where do I find the export for all the users? For all of these 298. All right, so I'm not gonna. I don't think it's a good use of your time to sit here and watch me struggle. There's export winners, but I don't know where I can export the total leads. There's got to be a place somewhere. Right? It's got to be here somewhere. I assume that there's a way to export these leads. Viral shares, top users, show more, refers, upgrade. Here's what you run into a lot with Gleam. Upgrade to our business competitions to see which domains and pages drove the most traffic. Now this data UpViral doesn't show you. None of the other tools, as far as I know, show you this. So this is a great advantage if you're willing to pay for it. And locations. But I still don't see an export. There's got to be an export for these users. Gotta be. If there's not, that's a major problem. Maybe I need to be under users. There it is. So if I do this, why don't I just do export all? It can take several minutes. Alright, I've got just a few minutes to end this. I do have a meeting at the top of the hour, so I'm going to be wrapping this up. Where did the export go? Did it come into my downloads folder? Where is my folder, my downloads? Look, I'm looking at taxes, downloads. Thank you, Page Magic export. This must be it. This is my tool comparison that I'm working on. That is not the right one. Did I do something goofy? Let's do all campaigns. Hi, Derek. How you doing, Derek? Okay, so I switched all campaigns and I'm doing an export. 20%, 100%. So now it shows me here. First entry, last entry, newsletter subscriber. See, there's that column. Wins, Twitter, YouTube. So that on this sheet, I still don't get the data. Finally answering Evan's question. about whether I get to see how they signed up for the campaign. Did they use the Facebook opt-in? Did they use email login or what? We don't know. That's data that I would really, really love to have. That's from all the tools, right? Okay, from Gleam and UpViral. I don't think the other tools give me the options for multiple login styles. So, again, that's why I'm doing the split test over in UpViral, to be able to see the 3 different opt-in styles and see what the result of that is. Here, I'll show you, for example, if we go to UpViral and I go to, let's see, hopefully this tab. This was the first one. Let me do the first one, and then we're going to wrap this up. If you have any questions, please let me know. I have another meeting in 5 minutes that I need to get to. And when you see split tests, you see that I had 3 different ways of registering. This first one was the form. The second one was the click the button to pop the form up. And the third one was enter with Facebook. And I had to give them titles so that I would know which one they were. But you see the conversion rate with Facebook was 2%. And that was just the Facebook opt-in. So they didn't have a choice like Gleam gives them. They only had one way of coming in. The other ones converted at 13%. Fairly similar results for those two to be able to enter your email address. But again, I'm going to do that same split test in this new version starting tomorrow. I wasn't screen sharing, was I? God dang it. Did it again. So let me show you. Sorry. This is the split test. I apologize. I'm not thinking well today. This is the split test with the 3 different tools. With the 3 different opt-ins. And you can see that the top 2 where they put their email address in, converted at about 13%. And the Facebook opt-in converted at 2%. Okay? All right. That's what is going on in my world. If you're interested in that, please let me know. You can always, of course, go to this. Go to newsletter.viraltrafficguide.com to opt into the newsletter. Inside the newsletter, you'll get notifications and a whole lot more stuff about what I'm doing in my life of teaching you Thank You Page Magic. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for everybody that popped in to watch. Thanks for asking questions, Evans, and everybody else. I do plan on, it's not on the schedule yet, but I'm hoping to go live on Wednesday morning, same time, to discuss what the first set of results are and whatever lessons I learn in finishing the setup here. So keep an eye on cmitch.com for the schedule, obviously on Facebook and Twitter and wherever you are watching me now. I will talk to you again very soon. Tomorrow, Copilot show, by the way, for UpViral. We will be finishing up how to test your campaign and how to do split tests like I showed you just a minute ago. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you again.